wonder how I evolved. I wonder how I started from collecting cards to some of the other points that got me to where I am now. And it actually took me back to my first pause in collecting around the year 2000, 2001, 2002. Where did all this start? Where did I start evolving from a collector then to the collector that I am now? And so what I did was I started looking through my cards. I had an idea of what I wanted to look for, and I came across this card right here. Now this is from the 2005 Sweet Spot collection. As you can see, it's a Jackie Robinson game used card. It's CM-JR for those of you that are looking for the number if you want to check it up on eBay. And yeah, it has a piece of Jackie Robinson's game used Brooklyn jersey on it. And the cool thing is, back then, everything was legit. You would see on the back, and it clearly says on here that it's part of a game used jersey from MLB game that Jackie Robinson wore for the Brooklyn Dodgers. It actually says that on here. And so I kind of thought, well, how did this card come into my possession? Well, first of all, it was cheaper than his normal cards. Even back then, Jackie Robinson cards were starting to escalate a little bit. And it's not that they weren't unaffordable for me, but at the time, I kind of thought, wow, these things are really neat. It's actually a part of him. You know, I can't get a hand-signed card. Those didn't exist really that I could find anyways. And it was a way for me to sort of blend the two things that I really loved, which is the vintage mentality, the idea that you have a card where he's, you know, getting ready to probably field the ball at second base. He's got that beautiful Brooklyn Dodgers hat on and the jersey, and looks fairly young in this picture, and just bordered by the white and the bronze. It's just wonderful, wonderful card. And so those are the cards I collected for quite a while. I loved going after those game used cards, and I've got a bunch of them that I'll show maybe from time to time here. But then came 2016, 2017, where, you know, I collected lots of. I always had that little bit of the modern piece in me that I really, really loved as well. And so that was a way for me to blend it. So 2016, 2017, like a lot of us, I left the hobby for a bit. So this was my second time leaving. The first time was university. The second time was, yeah, it just didn't do much for me. Stuff was sitting in a closet, just kind of gathering dust. And then last year, in late 2024, my nephew started to get into it. He's about 8 at the time. Started buying some cards, and he knew that I collected in the past, and I started helping him out here and there. And like a lot of you probably know, the itch came back. And within a month or two, I was at a card show. It took me a while to get there. I was pretty much on eBay and pretty overwhelming. All this parallel stuff existed back then, but you know, not like it does today. And you know, one of ones and superfractors, which is, you know, all amazing stuff. But yeah, I went to that show, and the purpose of going to the show was to find some other collectors that I could connect with. And that was the big piece. As I got into this, I started to realize the big difference between when I left the hobby to now is the social media piece. The idea that Instagram had evolved to the point where people can now look at each other's collections and possibly message each other, possibly even meet up. And so I went to that. You know, the show was great. I managed to reconnect with some of the dealers in Southern Ontario here that I'd known before. And but I always had that little bit of the modern piece in me that I really, really loved as well. And so that was a way for me to blend it. So 2016, 2017, like a lot of us, I left the hobby for a bit. So this was my second time leaving. The first time was university. The second time was, yeah, it just didn't do much for me. Stuff was sitting in a closet, just kind of gathering dust. And then last year, in late 2024, my nephew started to get into it. He's about 8 at the time. Started buying some cards, and he knew that I collected in the past, and I started helping him out here and there. And like a lot of you probably know, the itch came back. And within a month or two, I was at a card show. Took that show, I met what's now a really good friend, and started my journey towards this card right here, which I'd never owned before. So most of you know this is the 1956 Topps Jackie Robinson. Just an absolutely gorgeous card. Something that, I knew, I'd seen, but didn't really have an appreciation for it before in a certain way. I was still kind of hooked into the modern stuff. But when I look at this and I pair these two cards together, the thing that I love about it the most is where both pictures, both the headshots, Jackie's looking away, is kind of looking off into the distance. And I kind of see them sort of like most of us would pair wine or beer with a really good food. And that's kind of what I am as a collector. I like to think of myself as somebody who likes to mesh vintage with modern. And sometimes I look at vintage, sometimes I look at modern, but a lot of the times if I bring cards out, if I look at them, I'm looking at them together. And that's kind of, I've come to find, a little bit of a niche in our hobby. A lot of people identify either one or the other. That's not what I'm about. And so that's what I hope to do with this channel. This is going to be kind of a part of a segment that I'd like to call Now and Then. There used to be a comic store in our city a long time ago called Now and Then Books. And the idea is I take a card that I see that's more of a modern card, a card for now, something that is post, say, 1989 Upper Deck. I'll kind of use that as the borderline like everybody seems to. And then what I'll do is I'll look and say, okay, how does that trace me back to something that I've actually bought more recently? And how does that go in my collection? So feel free to use the comments below to leave a question if you'd like. Just remember, keep things positive. That's always what I want to try and do. Make sure that if you have a question, you know what I might do is just gather some of the questions together, make another video, and we'll kind of go from there. And that's going to be about it. So, just a reminder, remember this is a hobby. It's meant to be fun. Try to always keep that in your head, whether you're dealing with somebody or whether you're meeting up with a friend or whether you're comparing or whether you're in the middle of a serious business deal. I get it. This deal, I've been a part of deals where I've seen tens of thousands of dollars change hand in an instant. And that can be stressful, but it can also be fun as well. But always remember there's a human side to it. Okay, and that's something that I'll certainly be trying to strive with this. So have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you down the road. Take care.